Right, we are bringing you now some breaking news out of Paris. France's parliament has passed a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Michel Barnier. 331 MPs out of 574 members of the National Assembly voted in favour of ousting him. The motions were tabled after the Prime Minister bypassed parliamentary approval to force through an austerity budget, causing the left and far right to push to remove him from office. It's the first time a government has been toppled in this way in France since 1962. Well, let's put this all into context for you. This measure was expected to pass. That was the outcome that was expected. It certainly is significant, though. The National Assembly, we knew, was voting after debating two motions, one introduced by the left-wing camp and another by far-right nationalists, together accounting for more than 330 politicians. Only 288 votes were needed, and as we know now, 331 members voted in favour of that no-confidence motion. This is certainly significant. The Prime Minister, Michel Barnier, now becomes the country's shortest-serving Prime Minister. He only went into office in September, and now in December he is already out. It certainly does create a predicament for President Emmanuel Macron, who has insisted that he will stay in office until the end of his term in 2027. Now, all of this no-confidence vote, the talk of this no-confidence vote, came about as a result of opposition to Barnier's budget, which had been pushed through. Opposition politicians saying that it would negatively impact ordinary people in France. Let's bring in now our correspondent in Paris, Natacha Butler, to talk us through the latest developments. Natacha, explain what's just happened.
Well, as you said, the French government has collapsed after that vote of no confidence that's just taken place here in the French Parliament. A crushing defeat for Prime Minister Michel Barnier and his government, but not totally unexpected, I have to say, as the hours pass, because we have seen a lot of fiery debate here in the Parliament from MPs on the left and on the far right who tabled these no confidence motions. They said that at the end of the government, they were angry with Barnier's austerity measures and his budget that they said would hit some of the poorest people in France. And they were determined, they said, to bring down the government.
And Natacha, this is the outcome, of course, as you've noted, that we were expecting. But in terms of what happens next, does this create some degree of uncertainty for President Emmanuel Macron?
Look, absolutely. You know, France is once again plunged into yet another political crisis. There was already a political crisis that some say was Emmanuel Macron's making in June when he unexpectedly called a snap election. That led to a parliament which is now deeply fragmented, deeply divided, and it makes it very difficult for any government to govern, particularly a minority one. That's what we just saw with Barnier, and that is why his 3 months have come to the end. Now Macron has to find a new prime minister, but clearly that will not be easy.
All right, thank you so much. That's Natacha Butler reporting for us in Paris.